Hello and a very warm welcome to this afternoon's iOB business webinar. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are joining us from within the world. So what we're going to be talking about today is how to enjoy your work as a digital agency owner. It's a personal favorite topic of mine, and it is very, very, very interesting to see how we can balance our passion and our love for our work as well, okay, and we can tie it all in together to make sure that we are enjoying each and every day as a digital agency owner. This is so important. So we're going to talk about things like efficiency, skill set, how to really make your passion prevalent in the work that you do. So if this is your first time joining us on an iOB business webinar, my name is Ben and I'm the resident business coach here at iOB Business. Now, the way that these webinars work is that we will do a brief introduction like this, just you and I at the moment. Then we will dive into a presentation for around about 15 minutes, and then we will do a Q&A at the end. So if you do have any questions for me throughout today's presentation, please don't hesitate to ask them. You can access the Q&A section in the little gray box right at the bottom of your screen there. It should be somewhere in the central bottom. And I'm just going to give it another 30 to 40 seconds to make sure that everybody can join us. Everybody's getting on for today's content. We've still got people joining us today. So if you give me 2 seconds, I'm going to get today's presentation set up so that we are good to go. And then we will look at starting. Okay, so once again, if you do have any questions for me on today's presentation, make sure that you are putting them in the Q&A box, and I will not miss them. We will get them in the Q&A at the end of today's session. Okay, so I'm just going to switch off the camera now so that we can get going with today's topic. Now, if everybody could please just let me know before we get started, can you see the screen okay? And can you hear my voice okay? All right, just checking the chat box, and it looks like we are good to go. Okay, perfect. So beginning with today's presentation, okay, how to enjoy your work as a digital agency owner. Now, as we discussed, this is a personal favorite topic of mine, a topic that we collaboratively love, because it's so important to make sure that you enjoy what you're doing and you have a real passion, okay? Your angle, your passion, how you can enjoy what it is you're doing. So with today's topic, your presenter is myself. My name is Ben Porter-Smith and I'm a professional business coach, also the resident business coach here at iOB Business, okay? What I do is I specialize in working with small businesses and startup businesses and help them to achieve stability and growth, okay? That is me. That is who you are listening to just now. So in today's session, the discussion points that we have for you today, number one, know your skill set inside and out. Okay, this is one of the biggest things to enjoy in what you do, because if you're confident, you're a superstar, you have absolutely no doubts in yourself, you will inevitably enjoy your work more. Okay. Second thing we're going to be talking about, ensuring that you are practicing your passion. I cannot emphasize how important this is. And we're going to cover exactly what this means in the second part of today's presentation. And finally, we're going to discuss ensuring your digital agency management is as stress-free as possible. Now, as a business coach, this is one of my main fortes. We help people manage their businesses to make sure that they're doing it to the very best that they can. So this is a great piece of content as well that we're going to get onto today. Okay, so beginning with knowing your skill set inside and out. First piece that I'm going to share with you today. A core source of stress is not being familiar with how to complete a certain task. Okay, so let's revert back to any task that you've done in the past, whether it be in your 9-to-5, your corporate job, your day job, even if it's something smaller than that, even if maybe something around the house. Okay, if you're not familiar with how to do it, in other words, you don't understand what it actually takes or what it needs to be done to complete this task, of course, this is going to stress you out more. Okay. So specifically, when we're talking about the topic of knowing your skill set inside and out, this really is prevalent when we're looking at a core source of stress, okay? Because if we don't know how to do something, inevitably that's going to raise our cortisol levels, it's going to raise our stress, and we're not going to do it efficiently, we're not going to do it well, okay? Now, especially as a digital agency owner, we're looking at serving our clients at this 5-star level, okay? Giving them the absolute best service capability that we have and we can deliver to them. So if we are not familiar with how to do a certain thing, it's not only going to stress us out because we can't do it properly, or we haven't been trained, or we don't know, we haven't been educated enough, or whatever it is that we need to do this task. We haven't done that yet, okay? Now, this is so important because what we're going to continue to discuss throughout today's topic, okay? Now, before we jump on to confidence, let's just point out, okay, if a core source of stress is not being familiar with how to complete a certain task, where does confidence come from? Okay, confidence comes from knowing what you need to do when you need to do it. Okay, so of course some have a natural ability. Okay, some people are generally more confident, some people are naturally more confident. Okay, now some people think that it's a birthright to be confident, and others believe that they're a bit more shy or introverted, or you know, some people are more extroverted. Okay, this is the nature of the world, this is the people that we are. So confidence, okay, if you're not a naturally confident person, you can do two key things here. Okay, first thing that you can do to increase your confidence is learn your skill set inside and out. Be the very best in your industry at what you do through religious education, learning, making sure that you are continually doing this all the time and improving on your current skill set. The second thing that you can do is repeat and repeat and repeat. Okay, so it is something that is commonly taught in the public speaking industry. Okay, if you are nervous about getting on stage, if you're nervous about speaking in front of people, and this could even apply to client meetings, if you are cautious, you are a little bit scared, maybe you're a little bit nervous. Okay, one of the key things that is advised and taught to take away the nerves is to practice your presentation over and over and over until it becomes muscle memory. Okay, until it becomes so automatic that you could not forget it. Okay, now knowing exactly what you have to say and when you have to say it is something that will stem confidence from within you. Why? Because you're never going to miss a beat. One of the main causes of nervousness is not knowing what you're going to say. This is why people stress. This is why people panic. So it's very applicable when it comes to even doing a certain task. If we don't know how to do it, or we haven't done it enough times, of course, we're going to become stressed because we're nervous and we're unsure. Okay, so confidence is key to maintaining a stress-free work life. Okay, now a simple piece of advice here: refrain from accepting work that you or a team member within your digital agency are not 100% capable of completing within your own parameters. Okay, so when we're talking about refraining from accepting work that we're not 100% sure of how to do, or we're not 100% sure of how to complete, okay, or maybe we're not overly familiar with that skill set. Now, the reason that we advise this, okay, is because let's say that you do accept the work. Now, this is something that we would always advise against if you're not 100% capable of doing the work. Okay, now there's a very slight difference between being very good at something and you just have to add on a couple of little bits of skill to get it done, versus completely not knowing at all what it is that needs to be done. Okay, now this often happens. In my experience, I've seen it firsthand, where people have become sort of obsessed with chasing the bigger contracts. Okay, now the bigger contracts sometimes include work that they're not actually familiar with how to do. Now they accept this work on the premise that, oh, it's okay, I'll learn how to do it before it's due, or we'll just figure it out as we go along. Okay, now this is something that you cannot do if you wish to remain stress-free, happy, organized, and overall just a positive leader of your digital agency. Okay, now, as I said, there's a very clear difference, and very small difference, okay, between being, let's say, 90% good at something, and you just need that additional 10%, which you can learn, or being 0% good at something and taking on work you just don't know how to do. There is a difference there. Okay, now it's important that you understand this. However, what you can do to keep stress low, almost even stress-free, just refrain from accepting work that you or a team member are not 100% capable of completing. Okay, this is some good advice. Please write it down, take it home with you, and make sure that you are practicing this daily. Okay, so should you decide to develop a new service offering, take the time to develop the skill set or attain the appropriate help. Okay, so essentially what this means, and what you must focus on doing when you're looking to expand, and if you are looking to expand your digital agency, make sure that before you begin actually offering that as a service, okay, or a core offer, as we like to term it, you must be good and competent at what it is that you choose to offer. Okay, so let's say that you begin as a website developer and eventually you would like to offer some SEO services. Okay, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this, and this is even a natural progressional path from where you are now as a digital agency owner. However, before you begin offering SEO to client 1, client 2, client 3, client 4, you need to make sure that you are very, very, very competent at this work so that you can comfortably offer it. If you offer it too early, or you offer it before you're fully competent with this work, you again run the risk of point number 3 here, okay, increasing your stress levels because you are not 100% sure on how to do it. Okay, therefore you have jumped the gun, so to speak, and you have went into something that you are not completely familiar with. Okay, now it's not to say that we must always be familiar 100% with everything that we do, because taking risks is part of business, calculated risks. However, we can certainly counteract this risk, mitigate it if you like, by making sure that we're doing our homework, We're studying as much as we have to, and we're getting real life live experience, making sure that we are doing this. Okay, so moving on now to topic number 2. If you do have any questions there on topic number 1, make sure that you're popping them into the Q&A box, and I will get to them at the end for you. Okay, so topic number 2 that we're going to be talking about today is ensuring that you're practicing your passion. Okay, so you might be asking, Ben, well, how do I do this? Okay, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that right now. Okay, so first of all, important point, and it may seem obvious, but it's important that I iterate this. Okay, so enjoying your work is directly linked to having a passion for what you do. Now let's flip that for a second. Having a passion for what you do is directly linked to enjoying your work. Okay, now they both apply to each other in exactly the same context. If you do not enjoy your work, it's unlikely that you have a passion for it. And if you have a passion for it, it's likely that you will be enjoying your work. Okay, so let's have a look at this now. Enjoying your work is directly linked to having a passion for what you do. If you do not have a passion for what you do, then are you going to enjoy your work? Probably not. Okay, so keep this point top of mind whilst we're on this topic 2 today. Okay, passion can stem from the results of your work as well as the work itself. Now, there is very, very common, especially within the digital agency industry, if you like, okay, that people get satisfaction and achievement status feeling from many different things. Okay, one of which is feeling that the results of the work are actually something that they truly care about. Okay, so there can be so many different applications to this. Okay, but let's just take SEO again, because we've already used that as an example in topic 1. Okay, now what is the goal ultimately of SEO? Okay, now if you're not familiar with this term, SEO stands for search engine optimization. Now, if this is something that's new to you, okay, essentially what this means is that when we're working on something like SEO, okay, we're essentially improving the performance of a website. We're making it visible to more people. We're helping more customers, more potential customers come towards that website, okay? So ultimately increasing what's called the traffic, okay? Traffic is the number of people traveling, if you like, towards the website who ultimately end up there as the destination. Now, let's say that SEO itself, okay, maybe we don't particularly enjoy that so much. But every time we get an email from the client saying, oh my God, this is amazing. Look how many people are visiting my website. Or look at how many signups I'm getting to my mailing list, or any other number of things that could be actioning on their website. Okay, this might be where your passion comes from. Okay, your passion can also stem from the results of your work, if not the work itself. Okay, so it's important to focus on what actually matters the most to you. Okay, do you need to enjoy what it is that you're doing, if it's project-based or retainer work? Okay, or is it mostly for you about getting that email from the client saying you've done a great job, thanks very much for that, we can't wait to do our next project with you because you have achieved so much with us already? Okay, now passion can stem from here. Second place that passion can stem from is for a particular service. Okay, now this is of course the different type of passion, where let's just say that you love numbers. Okay, you're a numbers person, and therefore conducting marketing audits to you is enjoyable. Okay, so you're getting almost both kinds of passion here, because you are giving great results to the client, and I'm sure that they appreciate the insights that you're giving them. But more importantly, if you actually enjoy working with maths, numbers, calculations, a marketing audit is very much inclusive of this. Okay, we're looking at numbers, statistics, data. If you love this kind of thing, okay, now lots and lots of people do, they love reviewing data and analytics, and they might find the actual task itself enjoyable. Okay, so it really is important to evaluate yourself and make sure that you understand what it is that you love and what actually you want to do. Okay, because when we're analyzing within a digital agency what types of services we want to offer, or who we want to be, or how we want to pose to the outside world what we are and who we look like, okay, it's important to first understand, well, do I just love numbers? Do I love doing audits? Do I love SEO? Or do I want satisfaction from the customer side? Do I want to make customers more money? Okay. Do I want more customers to visit their website? Do I want my clients to continually increase their retainers with me because we're making them so much money on the other side from a result of our marketing work? Okay. Now you need to know where your satisfaction comes from. Okay, so I know that personally, I love to give people light bulb moments. As a coach, for me, it's when people go, ah, yes, brilliant. Okay, that's where my passion comes from. So you must figure out for yourself as well, okay, where your passion comes from. What is it that you love? Do you love delivering a particular service for a particular reason? Or are you more passionate about the results that you bring to these clients, to these individuals who you can really, really help? Okay, now moving on. Your passion may instead stem from the satisfaction your client gets as a result of your work. Okay, so when we're looking at something like this, we're taking the past 2 points into account here, understanding where your passion comes from. Okay, if it is ultimately from the satisfaction your client gets as a result of your work, this is something that can be applied to many, many different niches within the digital agency world, okay? If you're achieving certain results, you might choose to do it in several different ways, okay? So whilst this may seem similar to the other points that we discussed today, it is ever so slightly different just because it has multiple different applications, okay? So if your passion may instead stem from the satisfaction your client gets as a result of your work, you may open yourself up to the flexibility of, well, okay, you know, if I'm better at, let's say, website development than I am at paid advertising, then I'm going to choose to focus on this, because ultimately my passion stems from the satisfaction of building a great website, not necessarily from doing paid advertising itself or website design itself. Okay, so it's very important to review who you are as an individual, who you are as a digital agency, and ultimately how you can lead your digital agency into behaving like this. So I know that we always have lots of different members on here, current digital agency owners, prospective digital agency owners, okay, some veterans of the industry as well. And if this is you, it is always important to analyze who you are, whether you're currently active in a digital agency or whether you are looking to become an owner of one, okay? Now, final point for today, remind yourself of your overall vision. It's easy to get stuck in the day-to-day, okay? So just before we move on from topic number 2, we're going to discuss what this means just for a second here, okay? Reminding yourself of your overall vision is absolutely crucial. You can have it on a vision board, you can have it on your desktop screensaver, you can have it on your laptop, your phone, a note of paper next to you, okay? But whatever that is, everybody will have a vision. Everybody becomes a digital agency owner for one reason or another, okay? Do we love the work? Do we love the people that we get to work with? Do we love the results that we bring for our clients, okay? What is our overall vision? Who do we want to be financially, physically, mentally, you know, even philosophically? Where do we want to get our digital agency to? Who do we want to help? How many people do we want to help? Okay, if we are truly great at what we do, then our vision should be near enough limitless, okay? Is it something personal for you? Is there a certain house that you want to buy? Is there a car that you want? Is there a financial goal that you want to reach? Do you want to provide for your family even more than you are now, okay? What is it that you want? Now, you have to remind yourself of this, okay? Because it's so easy to get stuck in the day-to-day, okay? Now, what do I mean by the day-to-day? Well, I mean, if we're having trouble with a potential client, or, you know, we're not signing as many clients as we thought we were going to have, or, you know, we're having difficulty getting a certain task done, which I did say in topic number 1, let's try and not do that, okay? But inevitably, we will get ourselves into that situation at some point in time. And it's important that now we understand why, that we can look to change that, okay? But it is so easy to get stuck in the day-to-day processes of things, thinking, oh man, I'm really not interested in the work that I'm doing today just because, you know, it's taking a long time or it's particularly stressful today, okay? So don't get stuck here, okay? Remind yourself of where your digital agency is going. Strive to get bigger and better clients if this is something that you feel like you need. Refocus your passion and go somewhere else, okay? Take your agency to a new level. Do all of these things that continually progress us forward as individuals and as digital agency leaders, okay? Now, moving on to our final topic for today, ensuring that your digital agency management is as stress-free as possible, okay? So let's talk about exactly what this means now. First of all, you can ensure that you utilize standard operating procedures to reduce stressful mistakes, okay? So essentially, what standard operating procedures are, they are the optimal way of doing a task each time that you do it. Now, what is particularly stressful when running any kind of business, not just a digital agency, is when mistakes happen, okay? Mistakes happen on the client side. Mistakes can happen on the marketing side, on the sales side, administration side. They can happen all over the place within the business, okay? What we want to do is begin eliminating these mistakes, okay? Because another big source of stress is when something goes wrong in the business and someone, usually you as the leader of the agency, has to fix that problem, okay? So if you utilize standard operating procedures, they are the optimal way of doing a task each time that it is done. And this can apply from everything to sales, to marketing, to operations, to finance reports, and everything in between. Okay, so utilize standard operating procedures. This is your first big point, okay? Now, second, ensure that clients you work with fit your ideal client demographic as far as possible, allowing you to build strong rapport, okay? This is so important because everybody, to some extent, will have an ideal client demographic. Now, essentially what this means is, who are they as a business? What do they do? What do they offer? Are they in a niche or industry that we feel like we can cater to, that we can serve, that we can bring results for, most importantly, okay? So you must make sure that your clients you work with fit in with your ideal client demographic, okay? Now, this isn't always 110% possible, but it is certainly likely that you, if you look hard enough, will be able to find the right type of client for you, okay? Now, let's just say ballpark, the perfect client for us is a small business doing between 50,000 and 100,000 a year. Why? Because they're operating a certain niche that we're familiar with. Not only that, we know that their earning level, their turnover rate, means that we can also pretty much guarantee that they can afford our service on a regular basis. Okay, so if this is the case, that's going to eliminate stress from the client side. It's going to eliminate stress from our side. Now, what this also does is allows us to build a strong rapport with the client, because nobody's wondering if they can't afford the service. Nobody's wondering if we can get results for anyone. Okay, you're confident that you can bring results to this business, and they're confident that they can keep paying you. So naturally, when these two stress factors have disappeared, that just leaves us to work on building a strong working relationship and therefore a strong rapport. Happy days. Okay. Next thing that you can do is utilize time segmentation and adhere to your working hours. Okay. Working 80, 90 hours a week is just not a feasible long-term plan. Okay. I can tell you that from experience. I can tell you that as a business coach. I can tell you that from my clients' experience. Okay. Utilizing time segmentation is something that is going to massively change the way you run your business if you don't already do it. Now, in a nutshell, essentially what time segmentation is, it's a practice theory in which we allocate certain hours of each day to doing a certain task. Okay, now we can do this on a repeatable or regular basis. Then it helps for multiple reasons. It helps you forecast client deadlines. It helps you forecast project timelines. It helps you book in regular meetings. And more importantly, mentally, it helps you understand what your working day actually looks like. Okay, so if you're doing this, as well as adhering to your working hours, you're not working back-breaking hours every single week. You're getting plenty of time with your family and your friends and your social life and everything that you need to do outside of work, okay? Which will ultimately help you continually love what you do within your work, okay? Your work as a digital agency owner is a choice, okay? It's a choice to be the leader of a digital agency. It's a choice to make sure that you are providing the best possible value and best possible results for your clients. And it's a choice to love what you do and have a passion for it, okay? The second we begin to feel like it's an obligation, that can begin to cause negativity and stress, okay? We must love what we do. We must get into this mindset where we can't wait to sit at our desk in the morning and think, right, let's go, let's get it done today. Let's go and sign that new client. Let's develop this new service. Let's take our digital agency to the next level, okay? You must continually focus on your bigger vision, like we discussed in topic number 2, but you must also make sure that you're sticking to your working hours that you have agreed with yourself. Could be 40, could be 50, could be 60, okay? Whatever you feel fits around you and your lifestyle, as long as you are delivering at the optimal level for your client base, okay? So utilize time segmentation, adhere to your working hours. The final point that I have for you today, before we recap the presentation, is to have realistic expectations of yourself. Okay, having realistic expectations of yourself means that you're not putting huge amounts of pressure on yourself, but you are pushing yourself each day, each week, each month, and therefore each year to make sure that your digital agency is progressing past where it was yesterday. Okay, now having realistic expectations of yourself is essentially not saying to yourself, right, I'm going to do 5 million this time next year when you're currently doing 50K. Okay, because ultimately and realistically, you don't hit that 5 million target next year. You're going to wonder why you didn't. And likely an action plan that you could develop physically couldn't reach that. Okay, what you must do is develop realistic expectations of yourself. Now, a very realistic plan from this perspective is if this year you're earning 50K, next year you can earn 75 to 100. Okay, how? Because you've got systems, you've got procedures, you've got repeatable processes, and you've got a proven lead generation method that's going to take you there. Okay, that you need to understand how your business runs, and you need to have realistic expectations of yourself. Okay, business is largely about consistency, largely about understanding who you are, what you do, who you serve, and why you do it. If you understand these 4 things, you will help yourself grow as a digital agency leader, as an individual, and as a business. Okay, so let's recap on today's presentation. First things first. Be great at what you do. The first way of eliminating stress and making sure that you enjoy your work is being fantastic within your skill set. Second thing, find passion in your work. Okay, now like we discussed, you can get it 3 different ways. Okay, you can get satisfaction from the results, you can get satisfaction from the client rapport, and you can get satisfaction from the work itself. Okay, but you must seek hard within yourself to find out where your passion actually is. And finally, be selective with your work and prioritize organization. Okay, organization is absolutely crucial to an efficient business. You must segment your own time into productive hours. Make sure that you're sticking to your working hours and being selective with the type of clients that you work with. If you take on just any client, chances are you're not going to enjoy your work as much because you're just doing it for the money. Okay, now money is a huge, huge, huge part behind business, but it is not the only consideration. Okay, so with that all being said, I hope that you enjoyed the presentation today. It's been a real pleasure presenting this to you. If you would like to visit our website, it's iob-business.com. You can go and have a look at us, see what we do over there. For the time being, I'm going to jump on to the Q&A section, and I'm going to answer some of the questions that you have asked me today. Okay, so give me 1 second, and I can see that I've got a couple in, so I'm just going to go and grab the first one. Okay, 1 moment. Okay, so first one, something that we just talked about in topic number 3 there. Very, very good question. How do I know what reasonable expectations of myself are? Okay, so this is, this is that major question, if you like, that, well, how do we know if we're being reasonable to ourselves or not? Are we pushing ourselves hard enough? Are we not pushing ourselves hard enough? Okay, like these are the big questions that we have to ask. Are we pushing ourselves too hard? Now, overall, what I can say here, okay, my piece of advice to you is to evaluate yourself with full transparency. Be fully honest with yourself about your skill set, your work ethic, and your capacity for education, okay? Now, these are all different things, different components. Who are we as an individual? How much do we like to learn? How much are we willing to learn, okay? Sculpt your business around you. Now, if you're happy working 20 hours a week and making 70 grand a year, fantastic. If that's what you truly desire, and that's what you truly, deserve to succeed, you feel, then stick with this. And if you want to hit 500,000, if you want to hit 1 million, go and do that, okay? But the expectations on yourself are going to be relative to what it is that you want to do. Your goals will directly align with what expectations you should have of yourself, okay? The chances are you're going to need to work more than 20 hours a week if you want to surpass a certain financial number, okay? If you're looking at these bigger numbers. However, if you want your agency to provide a very strong income, but you're happy working slightly less hours, okay, then that's what's important to you. So really be truly honest with yourself. What do you want? How is your work ethic? How hard can you work? Can you work more hard than you are now? Can you work harder? Okay. All of these different considerations. Okay. Fantastic question. I really hope that answers everything that you have. Okay. So next up, we have now one more question. Okay. And this is essentially somewhat of a complex question, but we can simplify it. Okay. So this one says, how can I adapt my agency to speak more to my values? Okay. So when we're talking about essentially who we are as an agency owner here, who we are as a digital agency, okay? So talking about core values, we're talking about passion, we're talking about skill sets, okay? So the piece of advice that I can give you here is that you can adapt your agency within reason at any time, okay? So don't worry if you're not fully aligning with your passion right now, or you're not fully aligning with your skill set right now, okay? Because yes, things can be changed. Now, I really guess that the answer to this specific question is, well, how can I do it, okay? So when it comes to this kind of question, what you need to do is reevaluate what your passions are and what your skill set is, okay? Now, what you can do is reshape your lead generation, reshape the way that you manage your clients, reshape the way that you run your business to begin piece by piece, fitting in with your skill set, okay? So if you have to change your service offering just a little to make sure that you can fully deliver it instead of partially deliver it, or whatever your current problem is, okay? Now, reevaluate this on a continual basis to make sure that you're continually aligned with your skill set, your passions, your core values. And the other piece of advice to this, I suppose, is a second element. Don't do anything too drastic, too sudden, okay? Do it piece by piece over time. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to allow you the amount of time that you need to think it through, make sure that you're doing the right thing, and make sure that this is actually what you want. What it's also going to do is not shake up your business too much. It's just going to allow you that slow and gradual transition eventually to doing what you want to do, practicing your passion and your core values. Okie doke. So hopefully that answers the question that you have. I'm just going to go ahead and check that I haven't got any more questions in today. Okay, but it looks like that is it. That is this for this afternoon. Okay, so if you would like to join us on another iOB business webinar, you can join us same place, same time, 2 weeks from today, every Wednesday, on every other week at 2 p.m. Okay, so I very much hope to see you on the next one. Take care and have a brilliant rest of your week. Bye for now.